Thank you, Donald Trump. Now the whole world knows how weak we are as a country. Thank you, Donald Trump. Now history has no choice but to prove that our division brought other countries together, united against us, pun intended. Thank you, Donald Trump, for showing us how ugly we are as a people, how much hatred is still in our hearts, how much we don't trust each other, because dividing us is the best way to keep us weak. I was obsessed with Elon condemning his actions with the salute. I waited to see what you would say, and it was quiet. You and your administration picks at a scab, a wound that is never healed. No reparations paid, divide and conquer. So remember your both sides argument? You picked the wrong continent to do this. We are not the same as our ancestors. God love them and God bless them. You have every right to be here. You know that. So how do you deal with it? You make us hate each other. Hire based on fake loyalty because they are indebted to you. That's not an honest person, but you don't know because you don't live in a real world. You live in a gilded cage. You have to deal with your insecurity issues. All these men who have not had fathers in their life, and they talk about black men. They talk about the black home. Elon just got another baby mother. I don't know what stereotype is what now. You know what I do know? A great president unites a country. And because you have divided a country, because you got white people fighting this old ass fight against black people fighting this old ass fight, and screw everybody else in the middle, because that's what it comes down to, right? That's not what America is based on, right? In fact, it is. So if you're going to dismantle the system so that the people can build it back and make it into the America that it's supposed to be, then perhaps we're onto something. But it can't be with you in power, because you don't give a fuck about us. If we live in a society that doesn't care about us, why should we care about the society? Why should we support a government that will not support us? Oh, and by us, I mean, despite promises like 40 acres and a mule, Black Americans have never received federal reparations for slavery, Jim Crow laws, redlining, and systemic racism. Various local and state level discussions on reparations exist, but no national program has been enacted. 2. Indigenous nations. Native American tribes face genocide, forced displacement, example the Trail of Tears, land theft, and cultural destruction through policies like boarding schools. While some treaties granted compensation, many were broken, and indigenous people continue to face economic and social marginalization. 3. Mexican Americans. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo promised land rights to Mexicans living in the territories annexed by the U.S., i.e., California, Texas, Arizona, etc. The U.S. government largely ignored these promises, leading to widespread land dispossessions. 4. Hawaiians. The U.S. illegally overthrew Queen Liliuokalani and annexed Hawaii in 1898, while in 1993, Apology Resolution acknowledged the illegal overthrow. No reparations have been given to the native Hawaiians who suffered from high rates of poverty and homelessness. 5. Filipinos. U.S. colonization of the Philippine and American War, 1899 through 1902. The U.S. violently suppressed Filipino independence, killing hundreds of thousands. The Philippines was ruled as a colony until 1946, with no reparations for war crimes or economic exploitation. 6. Japanese Americans interned during World War II received reparations through the Civil Liberties Act of 1988. Their full economic losses, land, businesses, property, were never fully compensated. Japanese Latin Americans who were also interned in the U.S. camps were largely excluded from reparations. 7. Puerto Rico. The U.S. took control of Puerto Rico in 1898 and imposed policies that devastated its economy. Experiments such as mass sterilization programs and military occupation left lasting scars. Puerto Rico remains a U.S. colony with no restitution for its economic exploitation. 8. Chinese Americans. Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882. Chinese immigrants faced legal discrimination, lynchings, and labor exploitation. The Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882 through 1943 stripped rights and livelihoods, but no direct reparations or Fs given. 9. A backed overthrow of President Jacobo Arbenez led to decades of civil war and human rights abuses. Indigenous Mayan people were massacred with no reparations from the U.S. 10. The Iraq War displaced millions, destroyed infrastructure, and led to mass casualties. The U.S. has provided some aid, but no formal reparations for the war's devastation. The Vietnam War, 1955 through 1975. The U.S. dropped Agent Orange and napalm, causing generations of health issues. Some American veterans received compensation. Affected Vietnamese civilians have not. 12. Marshall Islanders nuclear testing. The U.S. conducted nuclear tests in the Marshall Islands, displacing residents and causing severe radiation poisoning. Limited compensation was provided, but many communities remained displaced with lasting health issues. My conclusion is that America has had a long history of committing harm without adequately compensating for the victims. While some groups received partial reparations, many remain uncompensated despite ongoing economic, social, and cultural impacts. It doesn't serve us if we only serve one community.